You come back and you're like, okay, I've got to do this and I've got to get back into this. But then there's this reluctance inside of you that says, I don't know that I want to do that anymore. I don't know that I want to do this.
You're questioning everything.
I think that you do.
Absolutely.
I think that you do.
They walked out into the light with cameras waiting, a family reunited, and already dividing. It wasn't the tearful fairy tale comeback the internet expected. It was messier, louder, and a lot more real. And now the Chrisleys are stepping back into reality TV, not to relive the past, but to rewrite it. But that rewrite comes with a cost. Everyone saw the hug. Not everyone saw the silence after. When Todd and Julie came home, the first headline celebrated the miracle, a second chance, a presidential lifeline, a family together again. The next wave hit harder. Old wounds were still open. Trust was not automatic. And the person who carried the weight while they were gone, Savannah, felt like she was being told to drop the load overnight. That wasn't happening. The reunion felt complete on paper. Inside the house, it wasn't. And that's where the story really starts. The weirdest part? They've done fame before. They know how to play to the camera. But this time, the camera wasn't caught up in curated sass and punchlines. It caught the quiet, the distance, the way two siblings can stand 10 feet apart and feel a mile away. And just as the family tried to step forward, an argument pulled them back. But that wasn't the whole story. Before anyone cheered a comeback, there was the fall. For years, the Chrisleys were TV gold. Sharp one-liners, big houses, designer everything. It looked airtight. Then the numbers didn't add up, and courtroom reality crushed the brand. In 2022, a jury found Todd and Julie guilty on bank and wire fraud counts, with tax-related crimes folded into the case. Sentences followed, years behind bars, plus reported multi-million-dollar restitution. For fans, it was whiplash. For critics, it was vindication. For the kids, it was something else entirely, survival mode. The shows evaporated, the house got quiet, and the internet began to pick sides. Some argued the case was overcharged. Others insisted it was simple. Crime, time, done. Meanwhile, a daughter stepped into a parent's role overnight. Bills still came. Schedules still had to be kept. Private grief went public. And a family built on being unfiltered was suddenly filtered by the courts. But the next beat surprised everyone. Inside those walls, there's the version you imagine and the one you don't. Todd has described prison in a way that sticks with you. I was in prison. Prison wasn't in me. To some, that sounds like bravado. To others, it's coping. He talked about ugly conditions, chaos, and what he called misconduct, claims that sparked debates about what really happens behind the wire. The family leaned into prison reform. They said the system punishes the whole family, kids included. And it does. You can hear it in the pauses on their recorded calls, in the clipped answers, in the way a son clings to the last private memento he has. While the outside world made memes and hot takes, the inner circle kept score of days survived, of birthdays missed, of court filings and legal bills, of trying to hold a brand together when your anchors are gone. And somehow, the effort didn't just hold, it grew. The media noticed the daughter who wouldn't go quiet. The podcast got louder. The advocacy sharpened. That momentum collided with a headline no one could ignore. A pardon. 2 syllables that can burn a timeline to the ground. Some called it mercy. Others called it madness. Supporters cheered. Critics said the rules were bent for a famous family with the right allies. The country has never agreed on pardons, and it didn't start now. But for the Chrisleys, the result was simple. The door opened, and once you step through, you don't go back. Here's what matters for this story. The pardon didn't reset the clock. The public didn't suddenly forget. The restitution doesn't vanish because the cameras came back. And the family still had to walk into a living room where everyone remembered the last thing they said to each other before everything broke. The pardon ended a sentence. It didn't end the tension, and that's where Lifetime chose to begin. The old show was glossy. The new one bleeds. Chrisley's Back to Reality strips off the polish. It starts with the calls, the last words before the gates, the first breath after. You hear a father tell his daughter he's proud. You hear the apology that lands heavy because you can't hug an apology. Then you watch a family sit at the same kitchen island and pretend it isn't different now. Spoiler, it is. It's not a comedy, even when it's funny. It's a diagnosis. You see how fame and family can keep each other alive and also chew each other up. You see Savannah's backbone, built the hard way while the internet tried to turn her into a headline. You see Chase pull back, then push back, then question whether the help he's offered is the help that's wanted. Both feel unheard. Both feel right. That's the problem, and that's the hook the show doesn't let go. Savannah versus Chase isn't a cute sibling spat. It's a cold war. While their parents served time, she stepped up. Guardian, provider, public defender, lightning rod. He grieved differently. He resented the spotlight. He questioned the plan. Think about that for a second. Two young adults, both trying to save a family, both convinced the other doesn't get it. Neither is fully wrong. Neither is fully right. And the stakes are brutal. Loyalty, money, and the last name that built their world. When you watch them talk past each other, you can feel years of tension squeezing through a tiny crack. The words get short, the tone gets sharp, and it turns into a contest nobody can win. Who hurts more? Who sacrificed more? Who has the receipts? It's devastating because it's real. And if you've ever been in a family that's been through hell, you recognize it immediately. There's also a quieter pain, the push and pull over privacy. The younger brother doesn't want to share his last keepsake on camera. He wants something that belongs only to him. That boundary is healthy. It's also hard when your life has always been content. The line between authenticity and exploitation isn't a line for them. It's a blur. And that blur gets brighter when ratings enter the chat. But that's not the only pressure point simmering under the surface. Speculation watch, unverified, but loud. Rumors suggest producers are leaning into the Savannah-Chase rift because conflict converts to views. Reports claim there have been behind-the-scenes debates over who controls the family's public narrative now that the parents are home. It's been said that money and contract terms have inflamed private arguments. Who gets paid what? Who approves edits? Who decides when to film and when to put the cameras down? None of that is confirmed, but if you've seen reality TV from the inside, you know why fans are whispering. The incentives are real. The pressure is real. And when the audience is this invested, the line between storytelling and stress test gets thin. Step back and you'll notice something else fueling the fire: politics. The family's support for conservative figures makes them polarizing in a country that treats politics like a team sport. Savannah's voice got bigger while her parents were away. She talked prison reform. She sparred online. She didn't duck the heat. That win drew fans and enemies in equal measure. Then came the chatter. Could she run? Would she run? It sounds wild until you remember how fame and politics flirt in America. The skill set overlaps: message discipline, camera presence, thick skin. There's buzz online about a future bid, with supporters calling her tough and critics calling it a stunt. Again, speculation. But whether or not she ever files a form, the talk helps the brand. It keeps the name hot. It frames this comeback as more than a paycheck. It's a cause. It's redemption. It's, we fought the system and we're still here. That narrative either inspires you or infuriates you depending on your feed, and that's exactly why it drives views. Here's the calculation the family seems to understand. Controversy is a currency. Lean into reform and you get headlines. Praise the pardon and you get dragged, and shared, and clicked. Push back on haters, and your clip lives a second life on somebody else's account. You don't have to love the playbook to admit it works, But there's one topic they can't spin away from. Money. Fans ask if they're broke. Haters swear they are. Todd bristles at the question. He said it plainly. He's not what people think, and the bank balance isn't what the internet imagines. Still, the case came with a heavy price tag. Court orders, legal fees, and reported restitution obligations don't vanish because a camera turns back on. And that's why this return to TV matters more than ever. It's not just exposure, it's revenue, it's leverage. It's proof that the Chrisley name can still open doors after everything. Pay attention to how they talk about it. It's not just, we're back. It's, we're telling our side. There's a score to settle. They promise receipts. They promise context. They promise a truth you didn't see in the headlines. That plays with a core audience who feels the media never gave them a fair shake. It also antagonizes people who think the verdict said enough. Either way, it glues you to the next episode.